In 2026, Coachella once again drew massive crowds to the California desert, confirming its status as a cultural heavyweight event. Gen Z pop star Sabrina Carpenter anchored the festival as a headliner, commanding one of the largest audiences of the weekend. Her stage entrance bypassed modern trends entirely. She rolled out in a vintage convertible, alongside Hollywood legends Susan Sarandon and Geena Davis, staging a live recreation of the 1991 film Thelma Louise. Later in the set, she brought 80s icon Madonna for a surprise duet. If you want to see how these massive pop culture moments are engineered to stick, subscribe to the channel. Carpenter's heavy reliance on 20th century pop culture serves a highly specific purpose. In today's market, engineering a nostalgic spectacle operates as a calculated survival mechanism. The modern music industry produces thousands of tracks every single day. Holding a listener's attention requires cutting through a wall of constant, hyper-competitive noise. A mathematically perfect pop song with a catchy hook and flawless production no longer ensures a spot on the charts. Listeners approach entirely unfamiliar art with innate skepticism. They maintain a psychological barrier, a localized mistrust toward audio they have never heard before. To survive, an artist must bypass this skepticism entirely. They need to forge an immediate, tight emotional connection with the listener before the first verse even finishes. Academics classify music as a sentimental product, meaning its value relies heavily on human memory and the psychological distance between the listener and their past. Industry marketers exploit this by deploying nostalgia triggers, like retro stage designs and analog studio aesthetics, to send an immediate signal of comfort to the audience. This model shows how familiar stimuli modulate pleasure processing. When input is recognizable, the brain's defensive mistrust filter lowers. By wrapping new pop songs in vintage aesthetics, producers trick the brain into categorizing unfamiliar audio as a safe memory. By engineering this sense of chemical comfort, marketers increase the likelihood that a consumer will accept and purchase a new artist's work. This marketing blueprint operates globally. We see it clearly in the K-pop sensation NewJeans. Their creative director explicitly built the group's debut around 1990s movie love story tropes, pairing vintage styling with retro choreography. The commercial response was explosive. Their debut track, Attention, quickly amassed hundreds of millions of streams worldwide. This success relies on retroactive connection. Gen Z audiences form deep emotional attachments to the textures and aesthetics of decades they never actually lived through. The utility of nostalgia marketing goes beyond triggering real memories in older generations. It successfully manufactures a profitable parasocial nostalgia for the youth. This shift points toward a growing nostalgia economy, where the industry treats the past as its primary source of low-risk growth. Legacy acts demonstrate the profitability of this model. ABBA generated over $150 million in sales on a recent tour using only digital avatars, profiting massively without a single original member physically taking the stage. This reliance on the past also drives the modern surge in interpolation, a practice where new artists heavily sample and recycle the specific melodies of older hits to guarantee listener comfort. Music producers and industry insiders now express growing concern over the creative cost of this financial safety net. If the entire industry optimizes purely for the emotional shorthand of the past, does pop music risk getting trapped in a permanent sterile loop with no room for true innovation? Looking back at the Coachella 2026 stage, Sabrina Carpenter's Thelma Louise tribute takes on a very clear function. It served as a masterful execution of behavioral marketing, specifically deployed to cement her A-list status by tying her personal brand to decades of established cultural goodwill. In a hyper-competitive landscape, successful pop stars aren't competing on melody alone. They are selling the comforting, unbreakable feeling of a memory.